And away we go. The final day of competition here in West Palm Beach, now underway. Event number 5 of 6 this weekend. Your first heat of competitors getting after it. This one pairs. Ladies gonna go first, men gonna wait patiently on that green starting mat. It's gonna go like this, 20 rope climbs, and they're both gonna head to the rower for 40 cals, and that's each. And then finally, they'll advance to the barbell, where they'll split up 60 snatches. So as you can see, not just any old rope, that cut rope, so a little bit of a legless climb before they can lock in their feet. As our female pairs are alternating to start the event. Tagging in and tagging out. So coming into this heat 1, the top-ranked team in heat number 1. Gonna be the squad from Columbia, Maryland, Team Revamped in lane number 5. Black shirts, burgundy pants for their ladies, as they'll seek to be the first athletes to make their way to the rower. So quite a bit of pulling on the menu this morning for event number 5. C2 CrossFit will touch and get another. And she will tag in Anna Tobias, the Games veteran, electing to go team this year. Her affiliate T2 CrossFit. And she's gonna go back-to-back climbs. We're gonna see that hand up in the air from one of these judges. Again, folks, 20 total rope climbs between the 2 female athletes. And that hand will signal the final 5 reps. And for this opening event today, a 17-minute time cap. Just to put it into perspective, just how difficult this one is, the event record, a mere 90 seconds shy of that time cap. Set last weekend in the Central Regional by none other than CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, 15 minutes and 27 seconds. As we pass the 3-minute mark, it looks like we got our first hand up in the air, and that appears to be for CrossFit Seoul, Miami. Adri Galera with another pull, and she will touch. Now a few more hands up in the air. CrossFit Krypton with 8 athletes represented in the field. There are 4 team competitors and then 4 individual males. Hand up in the air for T2 CrossFit now as well, but it's gonna be Krypton to the rower first, just shy of that 4-minute mark. As they're gonna get to work on chipping away at those 40 calories each. So whereas on the rope and on the snatches, they can break it up, on the row, it's individual as CrossFit Seoul Miami now gonna join him in the red sports bra. That's them. Now showing the monitors of your leaders, CrossFit Krypton on that Jumbotron. Just eclipsing the 10-calorie mark. Hitting the rowers now as well, CrossFit RDU. The rally-based squad. Gonna look to close out their second to last events of the day with a solid performance. Next, it's gonna be team revamp, so the squad's in the center of the rig. And next, South Mountain CrossFit, so literally the top 5 ranked teams here in heat number 1, leading the charge as they get going on the rower. So they go from pulling themselves up the rope, pulling the handle on the rower, to pulling the barbell for their final snatches as T2 CrossFit will shake out their arms and get ready to go on their 40 calories each. As Anna Tobias gets after her row, they're gonna have some company, Freakin' CrossFit 2018. Gripping and ripping that handle, but we see a hand up in the air for your leaders, CrossFit Krypton. May emerge off of the rower first. One athlete is done. Waiting on athlete 2, just a few more pulls. And West Palm Beach, welcome your leaders to the barbell, CrossFit Krypton. Now gonna split up these 60 snatches. Nice touch and go set. They're gonna advance every 10 reps. That was 5 touch and go. Caught it in a little bit of a deep power position, but she handled it quite well. And it's all about setting the male pairs for these teams up for success. Get them out here with plenty of time to spare so they can get after event number 5. They're gonna perform the same amount of work as their female pairs did, 20 rope climbs, 40 cows each, and 60 snatches, but at an increased weight of 135 pounds. So Krypton, 15 reps in as Seoul Miami gets started on their snatches. So it's gonna be 1 CrossFit Krypton, 2 CrossFit Seoul Miami, and now 3 CrossFit RDU. So those are gonna be your 3 leaders. 20 reps in for Krypton. Again, it's only a 17-minute time cap. So at the 8.5-minute mark, that's the midway point. You wanna set your guys up with enough time to finish this. You wanna get as close to that or better if possible. As Krypton, 25 reps in. They managed to stay touch and go 5 apiece through this point. I'm actually very impressed. Krypton hanging onto the barbell, 30 reps in, 30 more to go. As now T2 CrossFit gets after the barbell work here on event number 5. And despite all that pulling, seeing a lot of touch and go reps for big sets, right now it is very clearly CrossFit Krypton out in front. "40 reps in for Krypton, 20 more to go as we near that 9-minute mark. So they stick to their game plan. That's only 10 snatches apiece at 95 pounds. As the rest of the field is chipping away at it as well. Seoul Miami and RDU still the next closest squads. As Krypton staying true to 5 apiece, back and forth. Final set of 5 each for CrossFit Krypton. Last 10 repetitions total. And that'll leave just 5 reps to go for the female athletes of CrossFit Krypton. Their men itching on that starting mat, ready to take the floor. And finishing up for the ladies first. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for CrossFit Krypton at the 10:04 mark. So we'll see what kind of lead they build through the ladies as the rest of the field continues to chip away at their snatches. The next two closest teams, RDU and Seoul, Miami, in that second to last box, signaling they are less than 20 reps away. But it looks like RDU is now gonna pull into second place with a mere 10 reps remaining. So eyes on lane number 6, gonna see just how big that lead was set by Krypton. Less than 5 reps to go for RDU, less than 10 to go for Seoul, Miami. And it's gonna be about a minute and 15-second lead for Krypton over RDU as they finish up. So now eyes shift back to the rig. We've got our eyes on your top 2 teams here in heat number 1, Krypton and RDU. Again, just a 17-minute time cap. That's gonna leave us with just over 5 minutes remaining for these gentlemen to get as far as they can. The floodgates now open as Seoul, Miami finishes up. Robbie and Brian getting after their rope climbs. So they'll make up your 1, 2, and 3. It goes 1, CrossFit Krypton, 2, RDU, and 3, CrossFit Seoul, Miami. Krypton coming into today in 23rd place as they seek to close out their day with an improvement in the standings. Their second to last opportunity to do so. We see a hand up in the air, CrossFit Krypton. Only a handful of reps to go, can't miss them. Great shirt, red shorts. Krypton right across their chest. But again, time is not on their side. They're gonna have to go for it with less than 4 minutes to go. Imagine the 40 cows on the rower taking at least a couple of minutes. So just how much time will they have with that barbell in hand? And it looks like Krypton is done with the rope climbs onto the rower with a mere 3.5 minutes to go. So no reason to hold back now. It's looking like it's gonna be an AMRAP of snatches for these guys. Not to mention they have about 30 feet to make up just to get to their barbell, so they've got to sprint once they're done with the rower. As we've got a bunch of teams now working on those rope climbs. Lane number 2, Freakin' CrossFit 2018. South Mountain CrossFit, lane number 3. Revamped in the burgundy shorts in lane number 5. Trying to climb those ropes as quick as possible. RDU and Seoul, Miami also looking to finish up their climbs. Hand up in the air for what appears to be RDU. As Team Iron Force works on their climbs as well. As we near the 15-minute mark, let's check in with the calorie total for your leaders. 27 calories in for both competitors of Krypton. So they're nearing closer to that 40-calorie mark with 2 minutes remaining. Hand up in the air for both athletes. Final calorie there, ladies and gentlemen. With 90 seconds remaining, Krypton off to the races on the barbell. So eyes shift to center of the competition floor. What is gonna be that score to beat as the AMRAP of Snatches begins? Not gonna have enough time to finish all 60 beneath that cab. But there's gonna be a rep count to beat in just 1 minute. And that's rep number 10. Ladies and gentlemen, get behind CrossFit Krypton. 45 seconds remaining. Looking to set that score to beat. $15 reps in, 30 seconds. As RDU makes it out to the floor, they're gonna try and catch Krypton in the final moments. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. So Miami gonna try to get it done as we will count it down in 3, 2, 1. And time. RDU and Seoul Miami getting into the snatches, but your leaders heading into heat number 2.
This is how they will line up here. The Gamma Lama Ding Dongs in lane 5. They have the top score here in this heat, so trying to end their competition this weekend with a chance to finish in the top 10 overall.
Yeah, and you know, some teams have different opportunities and different priorities coming in. A top 10 finish for Gamma Lama Ding Dongs will be great, but what these teams really do is they are those important pieces for those top 5 spots coming into Heat 3.
They've been right around the top 10 all weekend, a 10th, the 14th, the 10th, and 11th, so they've been pretty consistent. Here we go. We started out with the female pairs. They'll begin with the 20 rope climbs. You can split them up any way you want to, but you do each athlete has to do at least one of these rope climbs.
They do. They do have to get one each, and then after that, they can break it up as much as they want. If one athlete wants to do 19, that's fine. But it is all about the ladies. They have to get through this as fast as they can because it is only 17 minutes and very few teams have finished this. Get a grip. This is all about the grip. What those rope climbs and rowing does to your barbell is devastating if you're not partitioning that correctly. And then fast rotations on the bar. Get your reps done, get out of the way, and get the other person on as quickly as you can.
The two things they're looking for, have to touch the crossbar there. Clearly not the hook that holds the rope on. Then you have to show control on the way down. You'll see a black tape mark coming up. There it is. You have to show control on the way down to that tape.
And I like how it seems like they've permanently transitioned to these high cut ropes. See those ropes hanging about 5 feet off the floor, and what that does, I say it creates a hybrid, or forces a hybrid style rope climb. We've had legless climbs in the past, we've had regular rope climbs where you get to grab with your feet, as you see, and this one forces both. And what I think this does is it just kind of takes the difficulty of judging out of the way, because legless was, did you touch with your hands and not wrap your feet before you brought your hand back? You know, and then the difficulty of legless is in the beginning, and then it requires just some efficiency at the top. I like the new style of ropes that they're using. It seems like they'll be here to stay for a while.
And it's been kind of neat to see over 3 weeks of regionals, Chase, the different techniques people institute to get up the rope on that first pull. Some people just totally legless, hand over hand. We've seen people nearly flip upside down to get a quick foothold, a quick J-hook or something between the thighs, all kind of ways to get up that rope.
And it just depends on what your strengths are, because a lot of people will have an issue with upper body pulling strength, and that's going to take a tremendous amount of effort when you're trying to do legless. Look at that, hand over hand, and then you see that kipping style, right? What that allows is that you don't have to pull as much, just strict upper body, and you get to use your hips to get a little weightlessness to reach up and grab. The trick really is that first foot grab. Since the rope is 5 feet off the ground, it wiggles around so easily, and what you'll see some people do is just do that panic grab where they end up kicking the rope away instead of grabbing it with their feet. Slow your feet on your first initial grab. Not, people's like, get me out of here, I need to, that rope starts flinging around everywhere. So pace your feet out.
It probably looks, as you coach at your affiliate, a lot like people learning the rope climb for the very first time. And in their head, they're calmly looking for the rope. Meanwhile, they're flailing all over the place. Looking for the number 20 as CrossFit Hype is a rope climb away, followed by Carolina CrossFit and Reignited Wilmington. 20 reps on these rope climbs, and they'll get on the rower for 40 cows each. Here we go, lane number 2. That's CrossFit Hype, local team out of Boca Raton, Florida.
Now, that's a decent pace to get through those 20 rope climbs at the start. And as they move to the rower, it's 40 cows together. So instead of splitting up the work as we saw on the rope climbs, they'll both row 40 cows. And what you're looking is just almost, it's not a recovery, so to speak, right? You don't want to lose too much time, but you don't need to try to make up time or catch people here in the middle 40 cows. So these two athletes just set a nice pace on the erg. Just get through this, maybe try to recover the hands a little bit, even though they got to hold on to that handle the entire time, but put a little bit more into the hips and shoulders, because those snatches at the end, the 60 total snatches between the two of them, are so hard, especially coming on the third day of competition.
Two athletes you see at the very front of your screen. It's Tara Demers, closest to you, the blonde hair and the black tights and the black shorts. That is two-time teen champion Kayla Stefano. Will be headed back to the team competition. She was first in the online qualifier this year. That's Crucible CrossFit and Brooke Haas and Colleen Lehane. They've been individuals in the regionals before going back to team here again. Again, it's Hype, Reignited Wilmington, and Crucible CrossFit. So on the left, you have Hype on the far left. That's your first place team. Crucible on the left side of your screen, middle team, and the navy top of the green. That is your third place team. And on the right split screen in the red tops, that is going to be second place in Reignited Wilmington.
It's a good stroke, good row pace. I like the length. I like how comfortable they look, and that's what you want to see here. You don't want to get, you're going to get to the rower pretty fatigued from the rope climbs if you are going the pace at which you should. The thing for these female athletes is that you are the gatekeepers for your guys. The 17-minute cap is so tight that not many teams are even finishing it. So it matters about maybe how deep into the snatches the guys can get at the tail end of this event. You can see them waiting in the background. Towards if you creep towards that 9-minute mark where you realize you might not have enough time, they're just like a bunch of caged animals back there. And that's, and just seeing them waiting and waiting. And when they get released for those rope climbs, they're gonna go out sometimes a little too fast.
You and I had talked earlier today with a 17-minute time cap and a two-part event, basically, a two-part type of test. If it worked out perfect, it would be 8.5 minutes each. And it's interesting, you watch the 3 weeks of regionals. In that first week, it looked like a bunch of pairs early on may have thought, I've got 17 minutes to get through this. You don't. You need to have a sense of urgency. You need to treat it almost like two 8.5-minute tests. That way you can release those two pair of male athletes. Here we go. That is going to be Crucible CrossFit. And Reignited Wilmington now making their way to the top of the screen. And in lane number 6, it looks like that's CrossFit Balance in the white top and the blue tights, starting to make a move. So that's your top 5 teams. Crucible got on the barbell first.
Crucible in lane number 3, third from the bottom in the white lane. I like the transition. Looks like 5 reps at a time. I think a lot of times you'll see teams just let the excitement kind of take hold of them, come out and do too many too soon. You come out and do 10 touch and go reps, you still have 50 more to do. Yes, you get to split it with your partner, but what that does to you and the timing of it, right? Jeff, you doing 1 through 5 is good. Your 6 through 10 won't be as fast as my 1 through 5. So let's just switch it out, give you some rest, and I can move faster.
Taking a look here at CrossFit Bound, rolling the barbell forward, and you can look in the background. Those are the 2 male athletes waiting as patient as you can. They were kind of having some fun a little bit early in this, but now as your time starts to creep close, you can see that game face get on.
Well, CrossFit Bound is a team that has always been here at the regional level, games experience, and athletes from that, and they have 2 strong women on their team. So this is an event that CrossFit Bound probably pinned at the top when these events were released. This is an event that we can do some damage on.
And Bound now has gone into the lead. They are looking for 120 total reps until they can release the males. So Bound, your new leader, a 5-rep lead over Crucible. And back to lanes 2 and 3. That is Hype closest to you as Crucible has crept ahead of them. And the black tights now getting on the Snatches, and then Kayla Stefano here in the black shorts. That is CrossFit Hype. This is lanes 2 and 3. They are trailing Bound by about 5 reps. Crucible makes their way up. Crucible within striking distance. And that's all you need to be once your females get through. Then the males have to kind of push the gas pedal a little bit.
All right, so now we've approached the 8.5-minute mark, top left corner of your screen, 17-minute cap. I'll say on the men's side is they're not going to need as much time to get through this event as the women, just because rope climbs are a little bit easier. They can roll a little bit faster. But that barbell isn't any easier for the men as it is for the women.
Down to the last few reps. Couple more here. You're gonna have to get to 120 total reps, and then Bound will have to get over the bar, touch the lane marker, and now their 2 male athletes can make their way to the rope. And here comes Marty McLean and Caleb Powell. Lane number 3, Crucible CrossFit. 2 reps remaining. Then it's going to be Christian Fernandez and Mark Hutchison who will be able to get onto their lane and go onto the ropes, and here they come.
Yeah, just straight legless all the way up. Now that is a little bit faster because you don't stop to take the time to wrap your feet. However, it is much more demanding on the grip, so the longevity is not there.
Third place Reignited Wilmington has fallen off the pace. They jumped out early with a couple of those teams. They have fallen a little bit behind, still in good shape though in third. And once their female pair get done here, and Morgan Sampson and Stephanie Simmons, they'll be able to get their 2 males out there. They were 17th here in the Atlantic a year ago. 10 minutes into the 17-minute time cap.
You see the challenge that this weight poses towards the end.
You mentioned there that's a wide leg split, but it was the last one, understandable for Kayla Stefano.
Oh, when you come in as whatever gets the work done as fast as I can, especially towards the end of 60 reps.
David Stevens, Rob Thomas now on, and here's Reignited Wilmington. They now have their 2 males on there. See if they can chase down CrossFit Bound and Crucible CrossFit. Got a little bit of work to do.
I think the one thing you need to really just kind of be sure you do is that I want you to go fast. We don't have enough time to say finish this event now, but we don't want to be out of control. And what out of control means is that that rope is swinging side to side when you hop off. When we come down, you want to slide down, maybe tug on that rope a little bit, hold it still, go back up again. So these guys know what they're doing. They've practiced this a few times. The big thing is the transition from male 1 to male 2. Stop the rope a little bit, or at least not let it swing too much. That wasn't too bad. What you see some people do is when they panic is they just drop from the rope, fling it off to the side, and then it's whipping all around, and the other athlete has to run up there, stop it, and then go again. So I like their transitions here.
Crucible starting to track down Bound a little bit. Now they have pulled into virtually a tie. They're almost trading rep for rep. Crucible right on the front of your screen. Black top now. Their shirtless male is back on. Again, Christian Fernandez, Mark Hutchison.
You see what I was talking about is that how much slower those reps are compared to when they first started. Both of these athletes went straight legless the first couple rounds. Now look at it. their arms are shot, right? They got to bring their feet in early. Even that's not going to last very long.
Bound will make their way onto the rowers. Crucible will be right behind them. And that's a look at the team for the CrossFit Bound out of Kennesaw, Georgia. So Bound and Crucible on the rowers. Bound in the middle of your screen in the red shorts at the bottom. In the dark tights, that's going to be Crucible. Now Bound picking it up on the rower.
All right, middle part of this event for the men. 40 cals total, each person side by side. Just, again, stay long, stay smooth. You don't even have to row that hard to get done in a decent amount of time. What you want is a cal per pull, and that's about 1,400 cals per hour, I think, at the minimum. And just give me 40 to 45 pulls, and then the event starts when we get to that barbell.
That's CrossFit High Band. They're 2 males on the ropes, so they got to a very quick start, but falling behind. They've, in fact, fallen out of the top 3 now.
And as I said before, it's with an event like this is that, yes, you need to be fast and aggressive on the rope climbs, but not go beyond your means in terms of your capability. Don't blow out your grip. Don't blow out your arms. Right? Use your feet. You can use your legs. You don't need to go legless. You just need to keep getting a rep one after the other.
So here comes Hype. They'll advance to the rower. There are 2 males now on. So we've got 4 total teams. Bound, Crucible, and now Hype's moving back in the third and reignited to Wilmington now on the rowers as well. But in the forefront of your screen is CrossFit Hype, trying to get back into the top 3.
Like the pace, comfortable pace, not breathing hard. That's exactly what you wanted to see on the men getting here through the 40 cals. Now, how do they break these up? 5s, 10s, 3s, 2s, whatever it is, just make sure there's that communication.
Going to be a race on the barbell. The team in the red shorts, that is CrossFit Bound. Here is Crucible CrossFit. They are trading rep for rep, Bound and Crucible.
They made up a lot of ground because they're very quick in the beginning with their row climbs. But like I said before, is that in lane 3 with Crucibles, like they blew out their grip on the rope climbs. And what I want to see is that what that's going to do to their snatches here towards the end.
Lane 6 CrossFit Bound. They would like to rebound and have a good day. They had a 5th place in event 2. They fell to 11th, then 24th yesterday. Kind of went the wrong way, but would like to go out with a bang today and maybe finish at the top 10 overall in the Atlantic Regional. And they've got a little over 2 minutes to get as many snatches as they can. That's Bound on the right in the red shorts. That's Crucible on the left. They are separated by just a couple of reps. Crucible, meanwhile, had a nice 7th place finish yesterday in event number 4.
Now let's talk about Snatch Styles and what that means between what these guys are dealing with. Right side, look at that, straight arms, all the legs, nice overhead. Check out the left. Look at this hitch. Look how early he pulls his arms and then smashes his hips into the bar. That's a guy whose grip is totally shot, right? He can't keep his arms long. He can't hold on to the bar through the middle. So what you have to do is kind of pull it a little high and try to bang it up off the hips a little bit. Look at him grabbing his forearms in the back. He's totally shot, and that's what you saw from the beginning, right? It's not necessarily about the 20 rope climbs. It's very important, but that's not the only thing. That big early pull, and then he's using everything he can with the rest of his body because his arms are done.
Again, this is Crucible CrossFit. They are in 2nd place. Bound in the red shorts, middle of your screen. Still a few reps ahead of Crucible near the bottom of your screen, but over to the right in the black tights, and they're females trying to get them down the floor as far as possible. Here are 45 seconds remaining. Bound now trades the lead with Crucible. Crucible and Bound are tied. Snatch for snatch here with just over 30 seconds remaining.
Now, one thing that Crucible has on their side is just raw strength. The technique of the lift might not be there, but you know, this isn't a beauty competition. This is a CrossFit competition. So these athletes are doing everything they can, but now when you get to the end, those last 10, can you hang on to the bar? Do you have enough energy? Do you have enough grip? How about enough grit to get to the end?
10 seconds remaining. got to get all the reps you can. You never know where it's going to pay off. And Bound gets in, it looks like, with the heat win. They and Crucible back and forth. Really good race here in this event.
That's what you want to see, and this is just heat number 2, so make sure you mark these cap times, how deep they got into the event, because these will play a big role in a heat number 3.
Heat number 3's coming up.
We'll get you guys a solid score on Crossfit Balance before the start. Or sometime during the next week.
Let's take a look at how they line up here today, as it will be Hustle Hard in lane 5. They are holding that gatekeeper position. Raw Training over in lane 8. They are the team that's 14 points out right now. And Team Soul in lane number 5, your first place team.
Oh, you got to think about that. Hustle Hard sitting in that 5th, that coveted final spot to the games. There's a lot of pressure to hold on to that position, but these guys are experienced athletes, games experience. They know how to hold on. The team chasing them is Raw. This is a new group put together. It's a team name we know so far, but athletes, their first time maybe working together. Like I said, I think it's easier to chase than it is to hold on. So look for Raw Training to make a move.
Underway here in heat number 3 of event number 5 as the female pairs make their way on to the ropes. It will be 20 rope climbs. You can split it any way you want, but the minimum work requirement in this event is that everyone has to do at least 1 rope climb.
Yes, and one that will be doing more than 1 rope climb, not the athlete currently on the rope, but Danielle Siddell in Raw Training. This girl eats rope climbs for breakfast. This is one, she won the legless event back in 2014 at the Central East Regional. Bring out the Central East again. She got the world record for that particular event. So when you're talking about getting the women out to a fast start for the men, she's one of those athletes that is going to help them in a big way. They're sitting in 6th place, 14 points out. They're going to have a good start at the beginning of this event. That's what I mean. It's all about the ladies. How fast can you get through? You need to put yourself into a dark, dark place to get our guys going and then get a grip. Think about this. Rope climbs, rowing, snatches. That's all pulling and that's all dealing with your hands. Which means when you get to the snatches, you need fast rotations. Get in, get out, get off the bar so another athlete can get started.
Well, this is a test, an event, as you mentioned, that Raw Training really needs in this one with a 9-rep, with a couple of rep lead over Douala right now, but they need it badly to make up those points. And in lane number 5, there's your first place team overall, Team Soul. They have started out both days with a 6. They've ended both days with the first place.
And that's okay if you can get the first place on the second event, because if you start today with a 6th place finish, you're going to take away 25 points from your total lead if those other teams finish inside the top 3. So what does that do is that your 52-point lead is now cut in half with another event to go. Oh, by the way, that only takes about 5 to 6 minutes, which means there's no room for error when it comes to that. So what they need to do is that don't play the 6th first game anymore.
Hustle Hard in lane number 3 here in the black tops and the navy pants. They currently sit in 5th place. They are the team hanging on by 14 points over the cut line of a Raw Training.
So what's the biggest pressure involved? Is it maintaining that last spot, or is it trying to get to the last spot? Personally, I think the weight rests on the shoulders of Hustle Hard because they are holding into that 5th place position. Raw Training in lane number 8, Daniel Siddell. There you go. Done first. Like I said, they got some good rope climbs done in under 3 minutes. That's one of the fastest splits we've seen over the world.
And they should be able to eat up the calories as well. You know, Danielle, a taller female, is going to have a longer pull, but you've got to wait for both females to exit the rower until you can begin the snatch.
True, but I mean, they're both very strong female athletes, and what that matters is that, you know, I think they might be rowing a little too hard. I mean, not saying it's a bad thing, but settle into this pace just a little bit more, because rowing harder does not benefit you as much as being able to push the snatches harder. Getting a 10-second lead requires so much more effort on a rower for 40 cals than it does the 60 snatches at the end of this event.
So CrossFit Laminin make their way off the rower as well. Dwala in there. So Dwala in second. Laminin now on the rowers, but they're all chasing raw training upstairs. But with more on Dwala, let's head down to Amanda Krebs.
Dwala is hoping for a major comeback this year after a devastating fall from a qualifying position last year when they got 23rd in the final heat because of an injured athlete. They're coming into day 3 in second place. They are feeling confident. They're also feeling very humble. They say last year's experience was a humbling experience. Here in event 5, they say it's not their strongest. They hope to do some damage control and end up with a top 10 finish. And then moving into event 6, they hope to blow away the competition.
Well, raw training still with the lead. And again, 540 is a number we will kind of keep an eye on for a potential event record if they can get off the rower. Again, about 540 and keep ahead of event record pace. Mayhem Freedom, of course, got that one at 15:27 at the Central a week ago.
Well, they got a couple of good dudes at the end of that team to kind of speed them up towards the end.
In 17-minute time cap here in event number 5. And we'll take a look at the males in the back. They kind of relax right now. The females have to still do the row and the 60 snatches, but as the snatches progress, once they get on the barbell, you'll see that serious game face look get on their face.
Look at those guys just rocking side to side. You think they're a little amped up? I know that calm face is fake. You guys are jacked up right now, or you want to be dancing. Look at them. That's the most synchronized they've been all weekend.
Well, raw training on the right side and the left side, but their females, Myra Litweiler and Danielle Seidel, going to give their males a good chance of this. They're well ahead of the event record pace. Now, it's going to depend on when you get your male pair in there, what they can do as well, but they're giving them an opportunity right now. We talked about the first couple of weeks, or the first week in particular, is maybe the initial pairs pace it out too much. We've seen that change, obviously, over the last 2 weeks. Chasing Mayhem Freedom again, 15:27.39 from a week ago in Nashville. Down here in lane number 2, that's CrossFit Laminin, who is trying to make up some ground. As you take a look at their 2 females, Laura Sorsby, Lindsay Sport in the Army Green tops, black shorts, and walking forward next to them, Hustle Hard in the navy tights. Here are those Dwala Rangers. They are now onto the barbell. Again, Dwala coming in second place with 336 points, a 36-point lead on the good side of the cut line.
I'll say for Dwala, that bar is already looking pretty heavy, and that's only in the first 10.
Here's a look at CrossFit Balance, and the camo tights came in 3rd place, actually 4th place, 330 points, a 30-point lead out of Washington, D.C. It is Christy Atkins, Jim. She competed with them a year ago, not competing this season.
I'm looking for right off the start is just technique. How are you handling this 95 pounds? And 95 pounds isn't a terrible amount of weight for a power snatch. But you think about the total of 60 reps, that is a lot. Everyone's basically doing Isabel on their own. Isabel is 30 snatches for time at that in particular weight.
There's a balance spin waiting to get out onto the ropes. Raw training with a 15 repetition lead right now. And they are in lane number 8, top of your screen. There is Danielle Seidel again from raw training. They were trailing Hustle Hard by 14 points. Hustle Hard currently in 3rd. We're looking for an 8:41 split here to stay on event record pace. If it finishes 1st and 3rd, raw training could only be 2 points out from a qualifying spot, potentially going into event number 6. Still got a long way to go in this one, though.
Well, that's how important this event is because it's so long. So many things can happen here. When you're looking at the last event, it is so short. There's almost not enough time and enough room to make huge gains. But with an event like this, those 60 snatches on the women's side, and then the men have to come out and do this all over again, is that event record is cool, but you have to get a 1st place finish if you want to give yourself a legit shot to being in the top 5.
Last rep for Seidel. Their 2 males are waiting to be released as soon as they touch the lane marker. And they touch it and they release the males. It's almost like release the Kraken. Here they come.
Now, keep yourself reserved just a little bit, because you need to make sure is that you have enough energy, enough grip left in your hands to handle those 60 snatches at 135 at the end. As long as you guys are doing 1 rope climb consecutively, switching off nice and smooth, that's as fast as you need to go here. Have a nice solid row, and then the event starts when you get to the power snatches.
Well, a team you don't see on the top of your screen right now, Hustle Hard CrossFit, and if they're not in the top 3, and Raw Training continues to lead this and they win this event, which they are ahead of event record pace right now, they're going to bump Hustle Hard out of the top 5 by a couple of points. Back down to Hustle Hard right now. They're 2 females trying to wrap things up here on these snatches. Next to them in lane 2, that is CrossFit Laminin. Laminin 7th place, but realistically probably too far out to qualify unless they hit some home runs.
Maybe too far out to qualify, but I mean, they can still mess up the leaderboard. I mean, if I'm not going to make it to the games, I might as well just throw a bomb out there and try to screw up other people's chances. I'm taking everyone down with me. That's my mentality.
So Raw Training at 131 on the repetitions. They are trying to get to 140. And then lane number 3, Hustle Hard. Now their males have some work to do.
And there's plenty of time, 7 minutes left for this time-capped event. No one has yet to finish this so far, but the points are tight, right? Seoul first place, 52 points, but Douala 336, Raw Training 330. That's the difference between 1st and 8th. That's it. That is not a lot. And all of these teams have one event nearly outside of the top 10, so all of them have had a misstep.
All right, we're watching Raw Training here with a hand up. They're looking for a 10:46 split here to get to the 140 rep count. There are 241 total reps in this event.
You see that grip is starting to go, and he got a no rep there on the end, and what that was is not showing control under the 11-foot marks. That black line on the rope, you can't just fire pull down that from the top. And you know, when you're talking about that guy's grip was gone, right? Now you're forcing your teammate to make up for your no rep, and that is even more devastating because look, hand over hand, that is, his grip is gone. His grip is absolutely trash, and he's almost missing the top. See, there's that panic, right? That little panic at the top of the rope. It was only 2 reps, but it's not like your hands are going to recover in the next 40 cals on the rower. So it's going up the rope. You can see that grip, those tight grabs. Watch him touch and just slide right down. That foot grab, slide, no control through the top. That no rep, though, when you're looking at time, maybe 5 to 10 seconds. When you're looking at energy wasted, we'll see how that manifests on the barbell in the last snatches.
Right now, Raw Training is where they want to be, and Team Seoul in between Raw Training and Hustle Hard. Now Hustle Hard back into the top 3. They at least want to keep one team between themselves to, again, close the gap as much as possible. They finished 2 spots ahead of Hustle Hard. They're going to flip spots in that 4th or that 5th and 6th position. Here we come, lane 3, Hustle Hard now getting on to the rower. Again, they've only got a 14-point cushion over Raw Training, and that cushion's becoming smaller and smaller.
1,500. Okay, this is someone who's very excited or just very good at rowing. This pace, right, your cal per hour, that 1,400 number, that's your row pace. If you are used to meters, that would be your 500-meter pace. So when you're looking at cals per hour, 1,500 is a very aggressive approach. This is where I'd rather have my athletes be, and that could just be the start. And what you're getting in that 14 to 1,500 is that you're getting that cal per pull. When it's 15, you get that little bonus one where it kind of jumps up 2. You're like, oh, it's like finding $10 in my jeans after I wash them and put them through the dryer. So that tempo is good. I like the stroke length. I like the pace at which they're going. So if you can row at 1,500 and look like this, by all means go for it. If they were gritting their teeth, pulling a little bit harder, I would say slow down just a little bit, because the end of the event, these 60 snatches are the gatekeeper to how these teams are going to look on the leaderboard coming out of event number 5. These are devastating towards the end.
Raw Training on the front of your screen, currently in first place. Team Soul in second, Hustle Hard holding the last spot in third. What Raw Training wants to do is keep doing what they're doing, but they would like to see Laminin jump back in there to third place, put 2 teams between themselves and Hustle Hard. Here comes Team Soul in the maroon shorts making their way.
About 12 reps behind. It's not that much in terms of time, right? You're looking at maybe 20 to 30 seconds, even though it is a lot of reps, but how are you going to transition through? Watch this athlete. I said his grip was smoked. We saw the same thing in the previous heat. Look at that. There's no pull with his arms, right? He has to get it up to his hips and just kind of jump and pray, right? Jump, drop, and a no rep on the lockout. Look, you're killing yourself with these no reps.
You know, if you kind of look off, one team we have not talked about, and this is not good, is Training Think Tank. Animus right now, they could be dropping in points. Their male's still way back on the rowers, but this is the race right now. Raw Training on the right, there's Soul on the left, separated by 8 reps. Hustle Hard still doing what they need to do, but their cushion is shrinking drastically. It's only going to be about a two-point lead right now for Hustle Hard. A little over 2 minutes remaining, and there's Animus back there, still on the rower. And Animus only had a 32-point lead, so they're flirting with potentially dropping out of the top 5, or at least losing some positioning here.
Well, just to their left is Douala. They're in the same position trying to hold on to that. And so what we're seeing is now with Raw Training, Hustle Hard moving up, Soul there in the mix, is that those points between the teams are going to get that much tighter. Now, what I'll give to this guy is he's still holding on to the bar. It's not pretty, but I said it doesn't have to be. Right? We're not here for style points. We're just here to get 60 reps completed. So as long as he can maintain and get through this, he did what he had to do. He pushed it to the edge to try to get his team there to the finish line.
Again, trying to get to 241 reps to get on it as you take a look at the fans for Team Soul here in the stands. And always great to see those affiliate t-shirts.
These affiliate fatheads that I'm sure were athlete approved.
Here is Soul right now, your first place overall team, second here in this heat. Soul off to your left in the burgundy shorts, the yellow, blue, and the pink top, left tank top for your first place team. So right here, Raw Training. Raw Training could be making a big move.
Him able to hang on to that bar is huge. Look at him counting him down.
.30 seconds. They're going to get in way ahead of the time cap. And we're going to see how this all plays out. If Hustle Hard can keep third place, Hustle Hard likely still in the top 5. Here comes Soul. They're in between Raw and Hustle Hard. But really now the teams that have to worry, Hustle Hard, waiting for that hand to go up from the judge. Where the teams that need to worry now are going to be Douala and Training Think Tank. So it's unofficial, Chase, but I think Hustle Hard is probably going to stay in the top 5. But as you mentioned, Training Think Tank was way behind, still on the rower. They got to that last barbell pretty late.
Yeah, we saw a big discrepancy between points, 32 between second and 6. I think it might be half that coming into the final event.
But Raw Training went hard, did what they needed to do.
Well, I said they had a pretty good athlete there for the rope climbs, and that is Danielle Siddell leading the charge for Raw Training, and they came out under event record split, and that is what you need coming in. You need strong female athletes, and that is what Raw Training has as they get to the bar first, through those power snatches, rotating every 5 reps the whole way through from start to finish. But Soul's men, what they did on these rope climbs, right? Look at that hand over hand, very strong big pulls. If you've got the ability to do that, by all means. But here's where Raw started to kind of give it back, that no rep at the bottom, sliding past that 11-foot mark. This athlete having to do 2 back-to-back, and then he did 10 unbroken power snatches at the end to give Raw Training the finish. That man deserves a beer for his partner.
And they are with Amanda Krenz.
You guys came into this event in 6th place on the leaderboard. So what was your mindset when you stepped onto the competition floor?
I mean, we knew what we had to do. We've practiced it enough, and we know that this is our strength, and we stuck to plan, and we had faith in all of us and did what Raw needed. So
I want to ask Danny about the rope climbs, because those things can tear up your grip. This is all about grip. So how did the rope climbs affect the rest of your movements throughout this event? Oh, sorry.
Oh, right here. Well, fortunately for us, rope climbing is one of my favorite and probably one of my best movements. And I'm lucky to have Maria as my teammate, and she's really good. So I honestly don't think those really affected the rest of our workout. I mean, I got a tiny rip, and I know that bothered her because she kept slipping on the bar, but I love rope climbs, and I knew when those were in this workout, we were gonna take it.
There is one event left of the Atlantic Regional Competition. What expectations do you have for yourself about how you're going to perform in that event?
I mean, we just expect to give it our all, and we expect that that's going to be enough.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Raw Training, Chase getting the event win in 100 big points, and we're going to see how that plays out with Jwala and Training Think Tank. I think that's going to be one of the teams that might be dropping out. Everything unofficial right now.
I mean, keep refreshing the leaderboard because it's going to be tight for those final 5 spots.
One event remaining for 5 spots to Madison, Wisconsin coming up later.
All right, folks, here we go again. This is heat number 1. Team event number 6. Going to be a quick breakdown of how this is going to shake out. Is a 9-minute time cap. Full team event, 144 handstand push-ups, followed by a 140-foot worm lunge. See our team's rolling. Some of our team's moving very, very quickly through these handstand push-ups. They can break this up however they like. See, we have one teammate in a static hold while the other executes the handstand push-ups. T2 CrossFit, lane number 1. Their first athlete up on the wall, rolling through his handstand push-ups. Hasn't taken a break just yet. Rocking them out pretty quickly. That is a big number to hit, the 144 reps. One of our teams here in heat number 1 will set the time to beat, going forward with 2 more heats to go. Some hotly contested positioning overall for our heat 3 teams as they look on. 1 minute in. 1 minute worth of handstand push-ups out of our first T2 athlete. Time to beat, set in the West Regional by Torrance Training Lab, 5:02.77. That's the event record, but these teams here at the Atlantic Regional worried about setting a solid time going forward. Our squad, lane number 6, CrossFit RDU out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Zach and Emily Jones, happy anniversary to that crew. Their first anniversary, celebrating it here, right here in regionals. Big fist pump right there. Happy anniversary, guys. Celebrating with some handstand push-ups and some worm action. Just past 2 minutes. You guys are joining us at home on the live feed. Welcome to the party here in West Palm Beach at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. This is the Atlantic Regional Day 3 of action, the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. The road to the games is decided today for our teams and individuals. Neck deep in team action on heat number 1. Team event number 6. 144 handstand push-ups. Varying forms on the handstand push-ups. Seen some of our athletes doing strict handstand push-ups, some doing kipping handstand push-ups, some doing them quickly, some rotating out after just a few reps, some staying in for longer hitches. Again, whatever your game plan is, I'm sure our teams came in with one. It is Spartanburg, the first to break away at the 3-minute mark. Spartanburg from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Iron Force out next. They're going to be side by side. Iron Force not taking any time to wait, going right into hoisting that worm and going right to work on the lunges. So it's going to be 1 Iron Force, 2 Spartanburg, and 3 revamped. Team Iron Force out of Havre de Grace, Maryland. Lunging forward, still in the lead. Spartanburg looking to make up some distance on them. Revamped in lane number 5. Revamped out of Columbia, Maryland. Looking to gain ground and are gaining ground on Spartanburg. Some other players jumping in as well. T2 CrossFit in lane number 1 and Freaking CrossFit 2018 in lane number 2 will join the fight. CrossFit Krypton heading away from the handstand push-ups towards their worm. CrossFit Seoul Miami also done with the handstand push-ups, as is RDU. Iron Force past the red line will dump the worm and prepare for the return trip. Freaking CrossFit 2018 will head down and get their worm moving. So just past the 428 mark, all of our teams done at the handstand push-ups and on their way in various stages on their lunge. Team Iron Force taking a small bite out of the return trip, having to dump the worm and readjust as we approach 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Again, a 9-minute time cap on this event, passing the 5-minute mark. Iron Force about halfway back on the return trip and well in the lead. Spartanburg struggling to get moving on the return trip, giving Revamp the opportunity to push themselves into second. 5 minutes and 25 seconds elapsed. Iron Force again having to dump the worm and readjust within sight of that red line. Coming up on the 5-minute and 40-second mark. Team Iron Force lunging across the line. They will dump it, and Team Iron Force, the crew from Havre de Grace, Maryland, will take the time here in heat number 1. Take that top spot and set that time to be right behind them. Revamped. Just under the 6-minute mark. 3 minutes, teams. All of our teams completing the first leg of the lunge with the worm and making that return trip. Spartanburg was in second, now in third. Very close to that finish line. Krypton and South Mountain CrossFit side by side, along with RDU and Seoul Miami. 6:30 on our time clock. Spartanburg will get all of their teammates across the line. They will push themselves to the red mat, and they will be your 1, 2, and your third team there finishing up. Spartanburg with a time of 6:36, revamped a time of 5:55, and the time to beat 5:48 by Iron Force. Krypton closing it out, as well as Seoul Miami, both under the 6:50 mark, and CrossFit RDU with a time of 6 minutes and 53 seconds. South Mountain CrossFit finishing up at 6:57, just past the 7-minute mark. T2 CrossFit and Freaking CrossFit 2018 inside of the finish line. All of our squads on track to finish under the time cap. Again, that time cap, 9 minutes. And T2 CrossFit will take it to the finish mats. Their time, 7 minutes and 16 seconds. Our team in lane number 2, Freaking CrossFit 2018, heading towards the finish line. The crew out of Pembroke Pines, Florida, almost there. Make some noise, West Palm Beach. Let's cheer them on as they hit their final lunge. And they'll dump that worm, and they will take it across the line, and they will finish up at 7:43. All teams finishing on that time cap. Again, Spartanburg with a time of 6:36, revamped 5:55. Iron Force setting the time to beat at 5:48.
Couple of teams that we look at as we see how they line up. CrossFit Bound in lane 6, and in lane 3 in Crucible CrossFit. Bound in lane 6 has a chance for a top 10. They moved up from 12th place earlier today.
They got a 4th place finish in event number 5, and this is a strong team. They were a strong team coming in, Games veteran affiliate. But with Bound is that they have some experience on their team, and what they're trying to do is try to push forward and keep pace. Like, they might not make a trip to the games, but they're going to mess things up. Bound, Jessica Phillips there on the left. Now, she has some games experience with this team, so that's going to be the calming presence, the field general out there for Bound.
Here we go, they're underway. They'll start it out with the 144 handstand push-ups. They'll rotate clockwise while one athlete does the push-ups. The waiting athlete has to stay in that static hold.
Like right off the bat, just get his, look at that strict, look at it right there in lane number 2, strict handstand push-ups. They're a lot faster. If you get them done, maybe you won't come back. Big sets right off the bat. Get some big chunks done. But when you are done, get off, get out of the way. The quickest transitions you can possibly think of. This is a fast event, and you're trying to save seconds. And in the end, that pain train, that 144-foot worm lunge, that is all about just staying in the moment and just in that suck, as you will, to try to get to the finish line.
Chase, something that you told me last night I found very interesting when we were talking about today's events is that, yes, you want to cycle through the handstand push-ups. When you slow down, you come off the wall, but you've got to be considerate. Even if you're a great handstand push-up athlete, you got to consider the person waiting in the static hold as well.
Yeah, it's really cool to rip off 75 handstand push-ups, but your homeboy there on the left has to hold for the whole time, and then he has to move into the handstand push-up box, and that's the little twist on this event. Holding on the left, handstand push-ups on the right. Doesn't really matter how many your athlete can do in a row, because you still have to move into that section and at least do one before you rotate out.
Well, you don't want to blow your buddy up waiting to do their handstand push-ups. Again, the time to beat 5:48.61, just set in the prior heat by Iron Force.
The same token to this is that you have to go through these as fast as you can. You have to push a pace beyond what you think you are capable of, because getting to the worm first is such a major advantage to get through the last part of this event.
Again, your standard handstand push-up, head hasn't touched the ground, have to lock out all the way up, feet have to end up on the wall. There's Kayla Stefano waiting in their rotation from CrossFit Hype out of Boca Raton, Florida. Team not far away from here. Here we are. Here's a team that got themselves to the top 10. CrossFit Bound, currently sitting in 9th place overall out of Kennesaw, Georgia. Would like to end the weekend with a top 10 overall.
Yeah, but top 10 overall. I know they're not finishing where they want to. Everybody wants to finish in the top 5, get a trip to Madison, Wisconsin, but they play a vital role in what's going to happen in the next heat, because we just looked at the leaderboard and it is tighter than tight when it comes to this. So everything has such major impacts. Even though it's heat 2 and we may not be going to the games, that doesn't matter. We always want to finish strong as a team.
There goes Crucible CrossFit. They are out quickly to the worm. It's going to be Milwaukee lunge here. It's going to be 168 reps we're looking for. Every 6 feet they walk will count as the rep. 144-foot walking lunge with this worm.
What you're going to really focus on is just watching their feet, stepping behind the other partners just in front of them, coming together without shuffling your feet through the top. Look how close there is. There is no room for error with these athletes, because it's not about getting your foot forward, but also getting that knee out of the way of the other person's foot, stepping on someone's heel in front of you. Here's the devastating thing, is that if you have a missed step, it's not stop for a second, back up. They have to put the worm down, right? For a no rep here, you have to drop that worm, pick it back up.
Again, Crucible CrossFit on your screen. They're getting chased down up there in lane 9. You can see them in the background by Reignited Wilmington at the top of your screen. So on the bottom of your screen, far left is Crucible. Top of your screen, about to get to the red line, will be Reignited Wilmington. And which one of these teams, as you've alluded to it, Chase, the one team they could be the grenade launcher to would be Seoul. in the next heat with a chance to go to the game. So somebody could really mess some things up here in about 15 minutes.
And that's their job in this particular heat, is not just finish good for your team, but just let's make it interesting here at the final event.
New leader, it's Reignited Wilmington, who's currently in 17th place overall. They have passed Crucible. Reignited Wilmington, one of two teams moving back to your right. They are now in the center screen, the lead male athlete in the blue top. So there's Reignited Wilmington on the right in the blue, and that's going to be Crucible on the left in the army green shorts.
And they just have, on the right side, just almost looks like just bigger lunges, and that's where they're taking their advantage. The tempo and timing, very similar. I like the control, bringing your feet to the middle. You don't have to do that. And some teams might take a chance not to do that, but that encourages more of a misstep between these athletes. But it's getting very close, and there's that no rep, that misstep, putting the worm down. Look how dramatic of a change that is for your teams, and that's what happens. Maybe you go a little bit too fast or step outside your lane.
Crucible took a 12-foot difference. They were 6 feet behind. They're 6 feet in front. Here they come. The worm has dropped onto the mat with a new time to beat of 5:18.40. Crucible CrossFit edges out Reignited Wilmington.
Strong finish in event number 5. Getting a 5th place finish, taking this heat for event number 6.
9-minute time cap. 169 reps the total once they get onto the finish mat. Bottom of your screen in lane number 1, Requisite Fitness gets in. Lane 10, top of your screen. CrossFit Athletics out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They will make their way in as they finish out their weekend of competition here in the Atlantic. Lane 7, Team Carolina in the red tops with the white top next to them. CrossFit Balance. And we'll see if they've done enough to keep a top 10 spot by the time everything is said and done. Couple teams still out on the competition floor. That's Sable Park, top of your screen on the far right. Bottom of your screen on the left will be CrossFit Hype. Then they've got plenty of time, a 9-minute time cap. Would love to see every team finish under the cap here in heat number 2. Finish out the weekend.
They got plenty of time, 9-minute caps, so they're not going to get capped on this particular event, but those were some very fast times in this heat. I know they were in the bottom 10. Well, not the bottom 10, the middle 10. We had some teams move up in 9th and 10th, but the teams that were in this heat are very good teams. They just had a couple of bad events throughout the weekend. So I think when you're in heat 3 is don't rest on the fact that you just need to beat the person to the left or to the right of you, because these times are very good times.
Well, and especially Team Sol, who's in first place overall. They would appear safe, but you never can tell. Here in heat 2, it's CrossFit Hype will be the final team to finish up well under the cap. Hype out of 4th place finish on day 1 in event number 1, currently sitting in 16th place overall. Back athlete needing to get across that red line completely. One more lunge should do it. And Hype is in, so everyone in here in heat number 2. And again, the time to beat, Crucible CrossFit, 5:18. They beat the prior time to beat by 30 seconds. 5:18.40 is the time. Well, we've alluded to it. Team Sol's in first place, but 4 through 6, a 12-point separation for heat number 3. 5 spots on the line, and it's coming away from the Atlantic Regional. Well, we already have a full house here at the Palm Beach County Convention Center in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's the final day, final event for the Atlantic Regional. I'm Jeff Bridwell alongside Chase Ingram. We'll check in just a moment with Amanda Krenz on the competition floor. And as we go to the final event, here is how they stand up. 12 points deciding the spots between 2nd and 6th, and a total of 5 spots remaining for the CrossFit Games in Madison, Wisconsin. And Chase, here's what they have to do.
Oh man, it's tight at the top, and in event 6, this is the perfect event to just get that energy flowing. 144 handstand push-ups, 144-foot worm lunge. Anything can happen. Seconds matter in this event to see who's going to go to Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, more on the worm is Amanda Krenz.
This year with only 4 athletes on a team compared to 6, these worms are shorter. Let's take a look at how they measure up to worms from 2017. Last year, they were 17 feet long, a total of 435 pounds. Each section weighed between 55 and 80 pounds. This year, in 2018, these worms are 11 feet long. They weigh in at 358 pounds total, but each piece, if you break it down into sections, is heavier than they were last year. They range between 70 and 100 pounds. That 100-pounder, that one's on the front, right here with the R symbol in the front.
That is what it looks like and what it weighs. Let's take a look at how they line up in this one, and the very cut line, the one we're looking at. Starting out in lane number 7 is Training Think Tank Animus. They are in 5th, and Dwala lane 6 is 6th, but here's a look at Training Think Tank.
Think Tank holding on to 5th place. Not by much. You're talking about just a handful of points over Dwala.
Here we go. It's going to be fast and furious. As tight as this thing is, we start off with 144 handstand push-ups.
Now, when it comes to this in the final event, there is what you can do and then what you need to do. What you need to do is to hammer out handstand push-ups as fast as you can, as many as you can. Huge chunks off the bat. When you slow down, don't try to overdo it. Don't be a hero. Get off the wall and get your next person in as quickly as you can. Cycle through that until you hit 144, and then go sprint across the floor, pick up the worm, and don't put it down for 144 feet.
There's a look at Dwala. Dwala trying to hang on here. They are 6 points out. Last year, going into the final event, they were in 5th place on the good side, but they ended up on the wrong side of the cut line. They're trying to be the team that punches through this season.
Well, they're kind of clinging the straws while drowning at the moment because they tied for 13th in the last event. They were in 2nd coming in this morning. Now 6 points out of that 5th qualifying position. You're talking about panic mode, straight panic mode. You are outside the cut line yet again. And there's some no reps coming up on the side, and that's just controlling your effort. You got to push the pace here, but not to the point of getting some no reps. What I mean is that seconds matter. They're vital in an event that takes less than 5 minutes to do.
Here's Training Think Tank on the right side with the black tops and the yellow riding, and then Dwala on the left and the red. Right now, Think Tank is currently the team in 5th. 6 points ahead. Last year, they were just off of the cut line. They missed it by 1 spot.
Now, holding on to that 5th qualifying spot isn't any easier than being outside looking in 6th. Think Tank just missed out last year getting that 6th place finish.
CrossFit Balance currently with the lead here in this heat, and they are on the good side in 2nd place with a 12-point lead with 402 total points. They need a 2nd or better to ensure a spot to Madison, Wisconsin.
Now, they are in 2nd, moving up from 3rd after event 5, but it was a 7th place finish in the previous event. So let's look at the importance here. Between 1st and 6th in the previous so far times we've seen is only 30 seconds. So when I say seconds matters, check out the scoring system on the side. 402, tied, 2 points back, 4 points back, 6 points out. So these teams in these other lanes, Hustle Hard, Raw, the Balance, they are just as flirting with getting out of the top 5 as any of these teams. It's not just Think Tank.
Raw Training made a big jump earlier today, but here is Soul. Soul, your overall leader in the standings. And Soul needed just an 18th or better to clinch in lane number 9. Here's PR Star trying to throw a grenade on somebody. 3 and 4 are going to get to the worm. That's going to be Hustle Hard and Balance. Raw Training falling behind. They've only got a 10-point cushion.
So the teams that are trying to get that last spot are still on the wall. So Raw Training, who's holding on to 4th, is sitting comfortable, but Think Tank and Dwala just got done with their handstand push-ups.
Where there goes Think Tank. They just raced to the right in the black tops. They're still waiting for Dwala, so Think Tank may be taking the initiative here. They need a couple of spots ahead of Dwala.
Dwala just sprint across the screen. Dwala's in red on the left, Think Tank's on the right. These are the 2 teams, 5th place currently. Right team with Think Tank, 6 just below them.
And Think Tank needs a team in between. Now the times are fast in heat number 2, so it's not just head-to-head here, but it's going to give you a pretty good indication once this event is over.
Well, here's Dwala. Dwala's on the right side in the red. They can't just only beat Think Tank. They're 6 points out, but the problem is they are behind over 10 teams. Now you're talking about a separation on the leaderboard by 4 points, but if you're outside the top 10, it's only 2 points that separate finishing places.
And right now, we are watching Training Think Tank and Dwala. They are moving to the left in the black tops and the red tops. That is for the final spot. Meanwhile, Seoul marching to a regional championship. Think Tank Animus gets the worm back up there in the black top. Here comes Seoul to solidify their regional title. Here comes Dwala in the background, but there's the big race on the right side of your screen. The leader's on your left, and Seoul trying to clinch the title in the Atlantic. But this is the drama on the right. Think Tank trying to stay ahead of Dwala. Dwala, last year, the team that was put out. This year, trying to be the team that punches their way in. They have closed it step for step, and they have overtaken Training Think Tank.
Don't overdo it. Don't race to the finish to get a no rep. So Dwala, they also need people in between Think Tank.
This could do it. Dwala has to get completely across, and Think Tank drops the worm. They got a no rep, had to put the worm down, and the Dwala Rangers may have punched their way in this year.
Check the time, though. That's 5:25 for Dwala. Can Think Tank get in there? We had a lot of 20-somethings in the previous heat. They still need at least 2 or 3 teams between them and Training Think Tank, but that no rep crushed them towards the end and maybe have another one.
Think Tank barely got that rep in, as Think Tank is now in. Boy, it is going to be very, very close, Chase. Think Tank may have survived, but we are not 100% positive.
What I was saying with Dwala is that though they beat them in this heat, they still needed at least 3 teams because they were outside those big 6-point differences on the leaderboard. Scoring system works. First place 100, drop by 6, drop by 6, and then from 3rd to 10th, you go by 4. From 10th beyond, it's only 2. So Dwala needed the win to ensure this, but they didn't even finish top 3 in their heat, let alone the ones before that. So what is the point differential between them on the leaderboard based off the times we've already had come in? And we're coming to the finish line, and I said you can't panic. Yes, Dwala was running you down. However, you didn't need to speed up too much. You could have at least tied them or come into one. And what happened to Think Tank is they overdo it, and then it had that costly no rep where they had to put it down and pick it back up.
Lane number 10, West Chase will finish things up, and the weekend is over here in the Atlantic, but the drama continues to wait for the official results. But Dwala looks like they finished about 5 spots overall ahead of Training Think Tank, which could put them in. But again, this is all just the speculation and the drama. This is sometimes the most fun part if you're not on one of these teams, to wait for the official announcement.
It's fun for everyone else except for 8 people. Starting with a fast and furious diving underneath the handstand, little knock into the camera, coming underneath the wall and just ripping off handstand push-ups as fast as you can. We had 6 teams get to the worm, all within 15 seconds of each other. Team Seoul in the center lane with the maroon pants was their first. They never relinquished that position, and they were solid. They did exactly what they needed to do. They win the heat. That's enough to win the region. But who is going to the games between Think Tank on the right, Dwala on the left? But Animus having that conversation with their judge, they not only got a no rep, but they sat there for 15 seconds to figure out that they actually got one. Dwala sneaks in ahead of Think Tank in this heat. But I said, we had some good teams in heat number 2 that put up some great times. How many in between? What are the point system? I don't know.
And oh, by the way, Hustle Hard with a 10th place finish. So now they're kind of worried as well, but they're your champions. Team Seoul, nice job all weekend by this teams. 6th place and 1st place each of the first 2 days. They'll end the weekend with a 1st place.
I mean, their only issue they ever had this weekend was a handstand walk obstacle course, and they still took 6th place in that event. And when you think about a strong team, this is what I love about going from 6 athletes to 4, is that last year, if you had a good 3rd guy and 3rd girl, you were just automatically better. Here, with 4, everyone's good. And you don't even have to be a games caliber athlete to have a major impact on a 4-person team. On the flip side is if you have one person kind of not on par with everybody else, 25% of your team is not as good as it really needs to be. So this 4-person format is changing the landscape on who the best teams in the world are coming into the CrossFit Games this year.
Chase, the teams I feel pretty good about. Obviously, Seoul has won it. Balance finished 3rd overall in the event. Raw Training 2nd overall event. But the 3 teams right now, Hustle Hard at 10th place, Training Think Tank at 12th, Dwala a 7th. So those 3 teams, we're waiting to see how the points will shake out.
Find out, it's close.
On face value, it looks like Dwala may have done what they needed to do to punch through, but again, nothing is official as of yet. Hustle Hard again, 10th place overall. And you talk about the time that Seoul had, they were only about 3.5, 4 seconds off the event record. That's how fast they went.
Oh, and we've made a lot of point about Dwala and Animus Think Tank, but Raw, Hustle Hard, Balance, I mean, they were just as close to getting outside of that top 5 as anybody because there was only 12 points between 2nd and 6th place. So, you know, even if you didn't finish great in this event, they probably might be thinking, yeah, everybody does that.
You never know.
Doomsday scenario,
Right.
Something can go wrong. And that's why none of these teams are comfortable at the moment.
Because in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, well, who did what in heat number 2? How many spots got in between there? But I like the mentality of Seoul. They knew they were, let's face it, they knew they were somewhat comfortable. They needed a 17th or better to get in there. But let's leave no doubt. Let's go for it. Let's win this final event.
I mean, if you're a competitive team, you never stop competing regardless of your position on the leaderboard.
Training Think Tank a year ago just outside that top 5, hoping that is not the case for a 2nd season in a row. Dwala, meanwhile, hoping they were the team bumped out a year ago that cracks through this season. Hustle Hard, hoping the 10th place finish is enough to keep them within the top 5. You should take a look at Mike and Brandy McGoldrick, the husband-wife team on Training Think, got a CrossFit passion. But Chase, what a fun team competition we had here at the Atlantic over the weekend. A lot of back and forth. And got the tight race we wanted.
This weekend, I mean, we have been absolutely spoiled for 3 weeks in a row. And, you know, in years past, it's how many times have you got to the final event, you're like, all right, these are the 5 teams that are going. Nobody else is really in contention. And that's happened. Now, as the sport of CrossFit expands and past individuals trickle down to the teams, is that you have to be great all weekend to make it to Madison.
Well, it's time to find out the top 5.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The results are in. I've gotten the nod. It is official. I have the names of the teams going to the CrossFit Games. These teams fought all weekend long, fought long and hard. So a big round of applause for all of our teams on the floor, all of our teams that competed this weekend. Tremendous job by each and every one. We're going to start in what we would say would be reverse order, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with our top team, the team that came in first. Tremendous performance all weekend long, ending the weekend with 546 points and wins in event number 2, 4, and 6. From Miami, Florida, give it up for Team Seoul. In second place with 496 points, Raw Training. In third place with 490 points, CrossFit Balance. In fourth place with 462 points, going to the CrossFit Games, Douala Rangers. Ladies and gentlemen, that leaves us with one qualifying position and one position only. The difference between 6th and 5th, just 10 points. The team qualifying for the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games as the final representative of the Atlantic Regional is Hustle Hard CrossFit! Ladies and gentlemen, keep that round of applause going for your 5 representatives from the Atlantic Regional. Hustle Hard CrossFit, Douala Rangers, CrossFit Balance, Raw Training, and Team Soul.
Well, the difference between elation and heartbreak between Hustle Hard and Training Think Tank, but as you mentioned, we have seen that in 9 different regionals this year.
Oh man, I mean, just look at the emotion. I mean, that's pure raw emotion in terms of, I mean, we see it on both sides, right? Tears of happiness, tears of joy, and just shows you how much they put into it, how much this means to them. Right? And on the flip side is Douala. I mean, we were so worried about them in Training Think Tank, but you can see how Hustle Hard almost gave it away towards the end too, and that's why you see the emotion coming from them. But Douala, good on you guys. Good on you guys after what happened last year to get back up into the top 5.
How about today's big movers? Really, Raw Training at 20th place in Event 1. They came in today on the outside looking in, moved all the way up to 2nd place.
I mean, these events stacked up very well for them coming into the final day. There wasn't a huge emphasis on skills and cute handstand walks. It was just pure fitness, toughness, and that's what these teams bring to the table. You know, just that 4-person, I mean, they got a strong squad, top to bottom. They're gonna. I'm excited to see these teams that made it out of here at the CrossFit Games. These are some good teams.
Team Soul dominated all weekend. They came to play, winning the final event as well, and they are with Amanda Krenz.
You guys knew after Event 1 that you had 5 tests ahead of you that you were very confident with. Take me back to the moment before this regional competition even started, about the mindset of this team and what your goal was.
Plain and simple, our mindset was set by our coach, Danny Lopez Callejer for Team Soul. He ingrained it into us day in and day out that we're working for each other. We're representing Team Soul, so we have to leave everything out there on the floor. And after Event 1, that's pretty much what we did across the board.
Obviously, you guys work tremendously well together. What is it about the chemistry of this team that is so amazing?
We just decided to come together, and we made a choice months ago that this is what we were going to do, and we were going to make it to Madison, and no matter what it took. And we all have the mindset to go out and get it, and that's what we came and did.
You guys have an incredible showing of support from your community. I want you to explain the fat heads and what those are exactly, and also what all these cheers mean to you guys throughout the weekend.
I mean, the fat heads were a surprise. I guess some of my friends really just wanted to surprise me and show support, which I love. But the community support is important for us because we come out onto the floor, we're super anxious, but we start hearing those chants, we hear the pots and pans, you hear your name being screamed out. It just drives you to go so much harder, with so much energy. So the fans are probably the most important for us when we're in doubt in our heads with the workout. It's getting really hard and we just start hearing them chant. They drove us home in that last workout. So a lot of love to all these fans out here that came out to support us. You guys really pushed us this weekend, and everything we did out here was for you guys. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Team Seoul.
Your Atlantic Regional Champions, one of 5 teams that'll be making their way to Madison, Wisconsin in August to compete for the Affiliate Cup. And Chase, that's how they stack up right there. Again, a fun weekend.
A fun weekend for us, a tough weekend for Animus. You see that team in 6th place. This is actually the 2nd year in a row they're finishing in that 6th place position.
Douala last year left out this year. They punch in there with Amanda Krenz.
Douala, you guys suffered through some tremendous heartbreak last year. You were so close to getting that qualifying spot. And here you are, you're going to Madison. What has this last year been like for you guys?
You know, last year was probably exactly what was meant to happen to us. Sorry, the echo's kind of weird. You know, when we got back from regionals, we were really kind of exhausted and we were drained. And we sat down, thought about what our vision was, wrote our plan out. And next thing you know, life dealt us like 30 more punches. And it was terrible. But we kept rising to the occasion. We kept pushing through. Griffin, Katie, Mitchell, they'll all attest that we've had probably one of the harder years we've ever had, both in our personal lives. And so this is like icing on the cake. It's amazing.
You are a humble team this year. You're a more mature team this year. What was your confidence level with these new faces that you added to the team?
First, before I go any further, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. This is an amazing experience. Number 2, before this event, we had to step back there. We knew we were behind in 6th. All I said when we looked at each other was like, look, believe in each other like we have all year. There's no difference with anybody out here on the floor. We go out here, we set out what we wanted to do, and we accomplished that. We were sitting behind, coming back to the worm. Nobody got panicked, and we stuck our head down and finished it out.
You guys did your thing. Congratulations.
Douala Rangers, one of 5 teams going to Madison, Wisconsin. And Chase, as they said, a lot of personal adversity this year. Great to see that for them.
It is, and it's a feel-good story to see what happened to them last year, what they've gone through over the past year, and to make it to the final, their major goal at the end of the year. But 5 teams, final 5 that are going to represent the Atlantic in Madison. I'm excited to see that team competition in a couple months.
Should be a tremendous battle in Madison in August. That's going to wrap it up for team competition.